everybody, it's Josh Wrinkle with another episode of Cooking with Jug. Sorry it's been a while. I've kind of been busy, with all the COVID crap going on, fishing and doing nothing. So it's been nice. But anyways, we're here with Jasper Lorentzen. He's the bass player for the Poe Ramblin' Boys, if you don't know, which is the group that we're in together. And we're at his house today in East Tennessee, and he's going to be cooking y'all some of his deer camp chili. So stay tuned because it's kind of a different spin on chili. It's not what you're thinking or what you're going to be used to, but it's good and it's hearty and it's going to fill you up.
That's right. All right, folks. Like Jug said, we're here at my house in East Tennessee, and we're going to make some deer camp chili. So one of the things that makes this chili different and kind of special is instead of using any type of ground meat, we're going to use a bottom round roast off of a deer. This is actually a deer that I harvested last season up in Wisconsin with Jug. Jug and I were up there hunting and at an undisclosed location, and we each harvested a couple deer during the muzzleloader season, and this is some of the last meat I have actually. We're getting to that time of year where chili's a lot of fun to have, or good thing to have cooking and kind of keep a pot going all the time, and people come over and you can have a bowl or two. So we're going to go ahead and cook some up right now. We're going to leave that venison alone. I'll show you what to do with it here in a second. First thing I'm going to do is throw some butter in my pot here and get that browning up a little bit. As you can tell, I already had that pot a little bit preheated, just turned it on a little bit ago. I went ahead and got these onions cut up before Jug got here. I did that for a couple of reasons, one of which is because I didn't want to cry on camera. So, and the other reason is just to save a little bit of time. That pot is nice and hot. So I'm going to go ahead. I used half a stick of butter here. The butter is just going to help get those onions going and get a nice flavor. And then once I get the butter all melted down and browned and the onions browned, the meat's going in there, and that butter's going to help that meat cook up really well also. So we're going to go ahead and get those onions in there. You don't have to do it real fine, I just kind of dice them up. Alright. We're going to let that cook on high. We're going to go ahead and take a look at this bottom round. Like I said, this is from it was December. It was during the muzzleloader season that Jug and I were up in Wisconsin and harvested this deer. So I'm going to go ahead and start cutting it. Basically, the end result I want to have is some cubed pieces of venison to put in the chili. So instead of your ground beef or your whatever, some type of ground meat, we're going to do cubed steak, basically venison steak, that's going to go in this, and it's going to have a really good result that I've had a lot of success with. So basically I'm going to cut this into strips, which, by the way, if we weren't doing this, these would make some real nice little steaks to put on the Traeger, but I'm going to make chili with it instead. We'll do that next time. Get these all cut into strips. You may notice I'm using my pocket knife. That's because I really need to buy my wife a nice set of kitchen knives. Whenever I cook, I just use my pocket knife. That's my fault. Alright. Go ahead. Cut this right down the middle. Sure to keep an eye on your onions every once in a while you're cutting. So of course, if you want to, you can get everything totally pre-cut before you even start, but I've usually found that if you get the onions going, you'll have enough time to get your meat cut up. before they're done. You can kind of do everything in steps. While the meat's cooking, we'll get the bean cans and everything open and talk about that. So you kind of just do everything in order. Have enough time to get it all made up pretty quick. Some high quality protein right here. I like to do everything just all in one pot, so that's why I got everything going all in the soup pot basically, and we're just going to cook it all and just keep on adding. Don't take anything out, and by the end of it we'll have a finished product and only one dirty cooking pot. Alright. I only do that just because I don't like to have too much stuff to clean. If you want to, you could cook all this meat and the onions and everything in a separate skillet, but I like less dishes at the end of the day, so I just do everything all right here. Rinse off the pocket knife at the end of it, and good to go another day. That butter is really good because this venison's so lean. It's nice to have that source of fattiness coming from the butter. Something to cook it in, get that good flavor, and nothing's sticking to the pan, of course. Alright, so the meat's all cut. Made a nice mess, which is good. Making a mess, you're probably not doing it right. Set this right here. Let me wipe my hand off real quick. A good time to stir the onions a little. They're starting to look pretty good, getting kind of translucent looking. That's what you want. Alright, this is the real scientific part. I'm going to start with a little salt and pepper. You don't have to do it this way, but I like to just kind of grind it myself, but it doesn't really matter. Just put a pretty healthy amount. I like to season the meat first, and most of my seasoning from this is going to all come just from the meat. By the time you're done, if you season the meat really, really well, you don't hardly have to add anything else to the finished product. So we got salt, pepper, a little bit of cayenne, which you can add if you know you don't like a lot of spicy stuff. Don't do too much. The thing I found with chili is, even if it's too spicy, just add a little more cheese, add a little more sour cream to the finished product, and it kind of kills that spice. So you can't really do too much. Well, maybe you can. So as you get in there, kind of mix that all up. Get all that meat evenly coated. Yeah, looking good. Onions are looking real good. We're almost starting to brown a little bit. I have this on high, so you got to watch it because it'll go from being perfect to being overdone real fast. Alright, I think I got enough seasoning on that meat. We can always add a little more later. Might throw a little more ground pepper on there. You can't ever have too much pepper and salt. Oh yeah. This is just getting where we want it. Last thing I'll do to the meat is have a little garlic in here. Gonna just push some of that fresh, I don't even know what this thing is really called, but I know it tastes good, so finished product. Just get a little bit of that in there. And we'll just kind of cook with that venison. All right. I think we're about ready. Those are starting to brown up real nice, and of course those onions are going to continue to cook when we add this meat in, so we don't want to overcook them right now because they're going to keep on going. So dump that meat in. Start mixing it around a little bit. You don't want to overcook it because when we add everything else in there, this whole thing's going to simmer for a while. So it's like you don't want to have overcooked meat to start with and then let it sit for an hour simmering. Then it's just going to be a bad situation. So I'm going to start turning it down. I had it on high. I'm just going to go ahead and put it about medium for now and just kind of let that sit. And we're going to go ahead and do open up our beans, get everything set up. What I like to do, we're going to do black beans, corn. We got some diced tomatoes with, let's see what's in there, green chilies, kidney beans, some regular chili beans. We use tomato paste to help thicken it up, tomato sauce to make it a little soupy. So yeah, what I like to do is rinse all my beans off with cold water before I cook them, because that way you're getting the actual bean instead of the flavor of all the juices they set it in. And I've noticed that just gives you a better flavor on your bean. You don't get as gassy with it. So we'll go ahead and do that real quick while this meat's cooking.
I was born in the shadow of a Tennessee mountain in a slower and gentler time. In a cabin my granddaddy built with his hands, out of hickory, walnut, and pine. We hunted those hills, my daddy and I, so far from the bustle of town. But I'd soon see a whole way of life start to fade.
Hey everybody, this is a quick commercial for Crispy, the original crispy puck right here. Jasper prefers the crispy stick. Even though we're not using cast iron in this episode of Cooking with Jug, we still prefer to use cast iron, and we season all of our cast iron, like this beautiful lodge right here, with crispy puck. Like I said, the original puck. Jasper prefers the stick. I like to use the cream. I've got the cream at home. It comes in a nice tube. It's easy to squeeze out. I use it on my big 6-burner griddle that I have outside. I use it on all my cast iron. My sister prefers the crispy swipe, which is a crispy infused rag. It comes in a nice little plastic tub, and you can just stick it back in there, seal it off, and it's ready to go for the next time you want to use it. So anyways, check out crispy.org and use the discount code PRB10 at checkout for 10% off of your next crispy purchase.
Through deer camp chili, ready to go. Jeremy, you ready for a scoop?
Yes, sir.
All right. Got some Fritos in the bowl already.
That's right.
Sophia, we already dished Caspian up a little bit straight off the thing. He likes his real hot. Get a bowl here. If you got kids, you can cut the meat up even smaller. I kind of left it pretty big because Caspian's got good teeth. But if you got elderly folk or a lot of real little kids, you might want to dice that meat up a little smaller. So I like to take your Fritos, make a big mess with them all over the table, but throw some of those. If you're real friendly with the folks you have, you can grab these with your hands, but since we have Jeremy at the table, we like to distance ourselves. I'm just kidding, folks. If you didn't notice, we added a couple additions here since we cooked. There's no sense making good food if you don't have people over to eat, so we got Jeremy Brown right there from the Porama Boys as well.
Howdy, phone.
My wife Sophia, and then Caspian joining us. So you can throw a little sour cream in there. I like to kind of do that if you think it's too spicy. It kind of helps kill it down a little bit. So before I add any sour cream, I kind of throw my Fritos in and my cheese and mix it up and just kind of go from there and enjoy it. So Caspian's already got, you can see if you throw a little sour cream in there, it gets it kind of a nice creamy looking chili texture in there. He didn't put any Fritos. He likes to eat his on the plate. All right. Who, cheese, Jeremy?
Yeah.
Sophia, what do you need?
Fritos.
Fritos? Here you go. You can use those if you want. Sour cream down at this end.